My brother, a Yale MBA star, scorned me as a failure. At his VP gala, he declared, "My sister's crumbling startup must be mine." Dad nodded. I slipped out. But the next day, their plot to seize my empire ignited a war. The champagne flute shattered against the marble floor of the Waldorf Astoria's grand ballroom, a crystalline explosion that silenced the glittering crowd. My brother James stood at the center of it all, his Yale-polished smirk gleaming under the chandeliers as he raised his glass in a mocking toast. To my reckless sister, Emily, whose sinking startup, Neural Tech, I'm generously offering to save with a takeover. His voice, smooth as aged bourbon, carried a venom that sliced through the murmurs of Manhattan's elite. The room erupted in gasps, whispers, and the clinking of glasses raised an approval of his audacity. My father, Richard Carter, Wall Street's untouchable titan, stood beside him, his nod radiating pride for his golden son. No one noticed me, slipped toward the exit, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here, not in front of them. They'd always seen me as the family failure, the MIT dropout chasing pipe dreams. Little did they know Neurotech was worth $150 million, 0 cents, a tech empire I'd built from nothing. And what would unfold by morning? A corporate espionage scandal, orchestrated by my own blood, would threaten to burn it all to the ground. I'm Emily Carter, and this is how my world started to unravel. The night air hit me like a slap as I stepped onto Park Avenue, the city's pulse thrumming beneath my feet. New York was alive. Taxis honking, skyscrapers glowing like beacons of ambition. But inside, I was a storm of rage and hurt. James's words echoed in my skull, sinking ship. He'd planned that moment, choreographed it to humiliate me in front of the city's power players. The gala was supposed to celebrate his promotion to vice president of Carter Capital, our father's Wall Street juggernaut. Instead, it became a public execution of my reputation. I clutched my mother's emerald earrings, the only piece of her I had left, and forced myself to breathe. She'd believed in me when no one else did. Innovation doesn't need a diploma, she'd whispered years ago in our Palo Alto garage, her hands guiding mine as we soldered circuit boards under flickering fluorescent lights. Elizabeth Carter, Silicon Valley's unsung genius, had seen the spark in me at 12, but she was gone now, stolen by cancer when I was 19, and I was left to face a family that measured success in Ivy League degrees and corner offices. I hailed a cab, my Armani gown catching the streetlight as I slid into the back seat. "Brooklyn," I told the driver, my voice steadier than I felt. My loft in Dumbo was my sanctuary, a minimalist haven of exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the East River. But tonight, even the Manhattan skyline's glow couldn't calm the churn in my gut. James wasn't just playing family politics. He was gunning for Neuraltech, my AI company that was rewriting the rules of virtual assistants. Our proprietary algorithms could anticipate human needs with eerie precision, outpacing every competitor from Silicon Valley to Shenzhen. Valued at $150 million, 0 cents. Neuraltech was my proof that I wasn't the failure they thought. Yet James, with his tailored Tom Ford suit and Harvard MBA, had declared war in front of New York's elite, and our father had raised a glass to it. Back at my loft, I kicked off my heels and poured a glass of Napa Valley Cabernet, the bottle trembling in my hands. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Texts from Sarah Miller, my best friend and Neuraltech's PR director, who'd witnessed the gala disaster. "He's a snake, Em? Call me. We'll bury him." I ignored it for now, my eyes fixed on a framed napkin hanging above my desk. It was my first Neuraltech business plan, scribbled in a caffeine-fueled haze the night I left MIT. Had been 19, grieving my mother and suffocating under academia's slow grind. Tech was evolving faster than MIT's syllabus, and I couldn't wait for permission to change the world. My father's voice had thundered through the phone when I told him I was dropping out. "You're torching your future for a pipe dream, Emily. You'll never match James." The words had stung, but I'd already landed a gig at a scrappy AI startup in Boston. 6 years later, at 29, I was Neuraltech's Chief Innovation Officer, leading a team of 45 brilliant minds and building tech that made Siri look like a toddler's toy. The next morning, my office at Neuraltech's Soho headquarters was a war room. Floor-to-ceiling monitors displayed code, data visualizations, and the glowing logo of our flagship product, a virtual assistant named Aura that could learn a user's habits in days. David Nguyen, my CTO and oldest ally, burst through the door, his usually calm face tight with urgency. "Em, we've got a problem. A big one." My stomach dropped. David didn't exaggerate. He slid his laptop across my desk, revealing a dark web marketplace listing. Neuraltech Aura prototype, code $2.00. MOBO. Someone had hacked our servers overnight, leaking our core tech to the highest bidder. The $50 million, 0 cents contract with Horizon Enterprises, a global logistics giant, was now at risk. If our code was compromised, their board would pull the plug. "Who did this?" I demanded, my voice sharp enough to cut glass. David hesitated, his dark eyes meeting mine. "The breach came from an internal IP, someone on our team." The betrayal hit like a punch. I trusted my people. Every coder, every engineer, every intern. They'd fought beside me through 80-hour weeks and investor rejections. But someone had sold us out. "Lock down the servers," I ordered. "Full audit. No one touches the code until we find the traitor." David nodded, already typing furiously. My phone buzzed again. Sarah, this time with a screenshot of a TechCrunch headline. "Catter Capital eyes Neuraltech takeover amid stability concerns." James hadn't wasted a second. His gala stunt was just the opening act. Now he was spreading lies to spook our investors. I sank into my chair, the weight of the night before crashing back. The gala had been a spectacle of old money and new ambition, held at our family's Hamptons estate, a sprawling mansion Richard insisted on keeping after Mom's death, despite her wish for something simpler. I'd arrived in the Armani gown Sarah picked, a sleek black number that screamed power without trying too hard. My mother's emerald earrings glinted under the chandeliers, a quiet rebellion against my family's expectations. But the moment I stepped into the ballroom, I felt the familiar sting of their judgment. Aunt Margaret air-kissed my cheeks, her eyes scanning for flaws. "Still playing with computers, Emily?" she'd cooed, as if I ran a lemonade stand. Uncle Thomas chimed in. "Heard you're still avoiding a real job. Brave but foolish." It forced a smile, mentioning Neuraltech's 45 employees and $150 million, 0 cents valuation. But they'd already drifted off, drawn to James's orbit. James, in his Tom Ford suit, stood beside Richard like a crown prince, his promotion to VP the night's centerpiece. The room buzzed with Wall Street heavyweights, Ivy League alumni, and socialites who fawned over Carter Capital's legacy. I circulated, dodging condescending questions about my little tech project and explaining AI to people who thought it meant tech support. By the time dinner was served, I'd fielded 10 suggestions to get a proper MBA and 5 reminders that it wasn't too late for a real career. Then Richard stood, his commanding presence silencing the room. "Tonight, we celebrate excellence," he began, his voice like polished steel. "James has built on a foundation of discipline. Yale undergraduate, Harvard MBA, and now the youngest VP in Carter Capital's history." The crowd murmured approval, glasses raised. I took a sip of champagne, the bubbles bitter on my tongue. Richard's speech was a masterclass in omission, every word a subtle dig at my unorthodox path. Then James took the stage, his smile a blade. "Success is about seizing opportunity and managing risk," he said, his eyes locking on mine across the room. "Which brings me to my sister, Emily. Her startup, Neuraltech, has been burning cash faster than a Vegas slot machine with no viable product in sight." The room went silent, forks pausing mid-air. As family, I feel obligated to protect her from ruin. I'm offering to acquire Neuraltech at 15% of its paper valuation, a generous deal for a company on the brink. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Isabella Grant, James's fiancée and a banking heiress, smirked from his side, her Tiffany ring catching the light. Richard nodded, his voice cutting through the hush. "A wise move, son. We take care of our own." My hands trembled around my glass, but years of Carter family training kept me composed. Instead of hurling my drink at James, I set it down, stood, and walked out, my heels clicking against the marble like a countdown to war. Now in my office, the dark web league felt like James's second strike. I called Sarah, who answered on the first ring. This is sabotage. James isn't just talking smack. He's playing dirty." She was right. Carter Capital had the resources to hire hackers, bribe insiders, or worse. My phone buzzed again. A text from Laura Bennett, my mentor and a tech legend who had built a $2 billion, 0-cents e-commerce empire. "Heard about the gala. Watch your back. James is sniffing around your investors. Lunch tomorrow?" Laura's warning confirmed my fears. This was a calculated campaign to dismantle Neuraltech. By noon, the damage was clear. 3 major investors, Redwood Ventures, Pacific Capital, and Sterling Partners, called to pull $20 million, 0 cents in funding, citing market intelligence about Neuraltech's instability. David's audit uncovered the traitor, a junior engineer bribed by Carter Capital to leak the code. The betrayal stung, but the real blow was a call from Horizon Enterprises. Their CFO, Thomas Reed, was curt. "We're pausing contract talks, Emily. Rumors about your financials and a leaked prototype have our board spooked. The $50 million 0 cents deal, our lifeline, was slipping away." I slammed my fist on the desk, the framed napkin with my Neuraltech plan rattling against the wall. My mother's words echoed, "The world needs trailblazers, not followers." I wasn't giving up, but the odds were stacking against me. That afternoon, I faced my team in our glass-walled conference room. 45 faces stared back, some nervous, others defiant. "We've been hit hard," I admitted, my voice steady despite the chaos in my chest. "Someone leaked our code, and my brother is spreading lies to tank our reputation. But Neuraltech is stronger than their games. We have 24 months of cash, a 25% revenue spike, and Aura's tech is light years ahead of the competition. We don't just survive this, we win. The room erupted in nods and murmurs of resolve, but I saw the doubt in their eyes. They trusted me, but trust was fragile under pressure. As the team dispersed, Sarah cornered me. You look like hell, Em. When did you last sleep? I shrugged, avoiding her gaze. Sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. Not when James was calling our investors, not when Horizon's contract hung by a thread. I'm fine, I lied, but my trembling hands betrayed me. Sarah's eyes softened. You're not fine. You're fighting a war on two fronts, your family and your company. Let me handle the PR spin. We'll counter James's narrative. I nodded, grateful for her loyalty. Sarah had been with me since high school, when we'd bonded over late-night coding sessions and dreams of changing the world. Now, as Neuraltech's PR director, she was my fiercest ally. The next blow came at dusk. A whistleblow, a disgruntled Carter Capital analyst, contacted David anonymously, revealing James had bribed one of our engineers to sabotage an upcoming demo for Apex Solutions, a $75 million 0-cents partnership. The demo was in 3 days, and a failure could kill our credibility. We can't let this happen, I told David, pacing the office. Double-check the demo code. Triple-check it. If James wants to play dirty, we'll be ready. But the stakes were higher than I'd imagined. That night, my phone lit up with an email from Carter Capital, a formal offer to buy Neuraltech at 18% of its valuation, dated the day before James's gala stunt. He'd planned the whole thing, humiliate me, spook my investors, and swoop in with a lowball offer. The audacity made my blood boil. I drove to my father's office the next morning, my Audi weaving through Manhattan's morning traffic. Carter Capital's headquarters loomed over Wall Street, a glass monolith of power and privilege. I bypassed the receptionist, using my family name to storm past security. Richard was behind his mahogany desk, reading glasses perched on his nose, reviewing documents with the same stern focus I remembered from childhood. Emily, he said, not looking up. This isn't a social call, I presume. You're helping James destroy my company, I said, standing tall, refusing the visitor's chair. He's bribing my engineers, leaking my code, and lying to my investors. Richard removed his glasses, his eyes cold. I'm helping James salvage your technology before your inexperience ruins it. This is business, not personal. It's personal when he humiliates me in front of New York's elite, I shot back. It's personal when he tries to steal what I built. Carter Capital can integrate your AI into our framework, he said, leaning back. James's offer is a lifeline. Your investors are fleeing, Emily. The market sees your lack of a proper business foundation. I laughed, a bitter sound. You mean the Zenith Innovations contract? The $100 million 0-cents deal you signed, promising AI tech you can't deliver? You need Neuraltech to save your own skin. His eyes flickered with surprise, but he recovered quickly. You've been well informed. Accept the offer, 18% valuation, or we pursue other options. Like poaching my team? I demanded. I know you've approached Lisa Chen. Richard's smile was thin. Good people deserve better opportunities. Accept by Friday, or we'll take what we need. I left his office shaking, the threat ringing in my ears. Back at Neuraltech, more fires awaited. Quantum Dynamics, a rival AI firm, requested a meeting. Their CEO, Catherine Wells, offered to buy Neuraltech at 50% valuation, her tone dripping with false sympathy. "I'd hate to see your tech lost if things collapse," she said. I saw through her. James had likely tipped her off, hoping to pressure me into selling. Then Apex Solutions called, their CEO hesitant. "Our tech team loves your AI, but we're hearing concerns about your stability." Cotter Capital reached out. My temper snapped. "My brother is spreading lies to force a cheap acquisition. If you trust gossip over your own engineers, we're done." The call ended awkwardly, and I regretted my outburst, but exhaustion was fraying my edges. That evening, David proposed a desperate plan: accelerate our next-gen Aura algorithm to showcase at the Apex demo. "It'll blow Carter Capital out of the water," he said, "but it'll cost us overtime, resources, everything." I greenlit it, knowing we were burning cash faster than ever. My doctor's appointment the next day confirmed what I already knew. My blood pressure was spiking, I'd lost 10 pounds, and I was averaging 3 hours of sleep. "You're heading for a breakdown, Emily," Dr. Patel warned. "Your company needs you alive." I took the sleep aid prescription, but didn't fill it. Neuraltech was my life, my mother's legacy. I couldn't stop now. Then came the third disaster. A tech blog published leaked internal emails, falsely claiming Neuraltech was fudging its financials. The story went viral, amplified by bots I suspected James had hired. Investors panicked, and 2 more pulled out, slashing our runway to 12 weeks. I called an emergency team meeting, my voice hoarse but firm. "This is a coordinated attack," I said, "but our numbers are real and Aura is unmatched. We fight this together." The team rallied, but I saw fear in their eyes. Junior developer Ryan Patel admitted, "My cousin at Quantum Dynamics says they're offering huge bonuses to poach us." The room went quiet. Defections were a real threat. At 2 a.m., alone in my office, I stared at a photo of Mom and me, her smile radiant as we built a robot in our garage. "Don't let them crush your spirit," she'd said on her deathbed. I was keeping that promise, but at what cost? My phone pinged with a text from Sarah. "DDoS attack on our servers. Demo environments down." The fourth blow. Someone, likely James, had launched a cyber attack to crash our Apex demo. David's team worked through the night to restore the servers, but the damage was done. Apex pushed their decision back a week, and our cash burn accelerated. The final straw came at midnight. Isabella Grant, James's fiancée, appeared at my office, her Prada bag clutched tightly, her face pale. "Bradley doesn't know I'm here," she whispered, handing me a USB drive and a stack of documents. "Carter Capital's in trouble. $200 million, 0 cents in debt. The Zenith contract was their lifeline, but they lied about their tech. They need Neuraltech to survive." I scanned the papers, financials showing Carter Capital's losses, emails admitting they'd misrepresented their AI capabilities to Zenith. Isabella's voice shook. "I thought I was marrying into a family with honor. What they're doing to you is wrong." "Why risk this?" I asked, suspicious. "My father built his bank from nothing," she said. "He'd never respect this. Neither can I." She left, urging me to use the documents anonymously. I called David and Sarah, who confirmed the data's legitimacy. Carter Capital was crumbling, and James's desperation explained his ruthless campaign. But the clock was ticking. Our demo was in 2 days, our cash was dwindling, and Lisa Chen, our lead AI architect, had just defected to Carter Capital. As dawn broke, David burst in with a breakthrough. The team had fixed Aura's algorithm, boosting its speed by 30%. We can demo this to Apex and blow them away, he said. I nodded, a flicker of hope igniting. But James wasn't done. A new email from Carter Capital arrived, an offer at 25% valuation with a 24-hour deadline. The walls were closing in, and I was running out of moves. What would I do next? Would I save Neural Tech? Or would my brother's betrayal bury it and me? The fluorescent lights of Neurotech's Soho office buzzed like a swarm of angry hornets, mirroring the chaos in my head. It was 3 a.m., and I was alone, staring at a spreadsheet that screamed disaster. 12 weeks of cash left, a sabotaged demo, and a brother who'd turned betrayal into an art form. And James's latest offer, 25% of Neural Tech's $150 million, 0 cents valuation, sat in my inbox like a ticking bomb, its 24-hour deadline taunting me. My hands shook as I gripped my fourth coffee, the bitter taste doing nothing to dull the memory of Isabella Grant's midnight visit. Her USB drive, now plugged into my laptop, revealed Carter Capital's dirty secret: a $200 million, 0 cents debt, and a desperate gamble on a $100 million, 0 cents Zenith Innovations contract they couldn't deliver. My brother wasn't just trying to steal Neural Tech. He was fighting to save his own empire from collapse. But the cost of his ambition was my life's work, and I wasn't about to let him win. I'm Emily Carter, and this is how I fought back. The USB's files painted a grim picture. Carter Capital's financials showed 3 quarters of hemorrhaging losses, client complaints piling up, and an email chain where James admitted they'd oversold their AI capabilities to Zenith. They'd promised a logistics system powered by tech they didn't have, tech that sounded eerily like Neural Tech's Aura. Isabella's betrayal was a lifeline, but it came with question. Why risk her engagement to James? Was she truly disillusioned, or was this a trap to lure me into a bigger mistake? I couldn't trust her motives, not yet. I forwarded the files to David Nguyen, my CTO, with a single instruction: verify everything quietly. Then I called Sarah Miller, my PR director and best friend, who answered with a groggy but fierce, what's the plan? We're not letting James bury us. We're not just surviving, I said, my voice steel despite the exhaustion clawing at me. We're going to turn his game against him. But first, we fix the Apex demo. It's our shot to prove Neural Tech's worth. The demo, scheduled in 48 hours for Apex Solutions' $75 million 0 cents partnership, was our make-or-break moment. James's bribed engineer had sabotaged the last one. An Adidas attack had crippled our servers during a live client presentation. We couldn't afford another failure. David's team had fixed Aura's algorithm, boosting its processing speed by 30%, but the stakes were higher now. Apex's board was wavering, spooked by James's rumors, and our cash burn was accelerating with every overtime hour. By 6 a.m., the office was alive with the hum of keyboards and hushed urgency. David burst in, his eyes bloodshot but triumphant. The algorithm's stable, Em. We ran stress tests all night. It's faster, smarter, and ready to blow Apex away. I allowed myself a flicker of hope, but it was quickly snuffed out by a new email from Citibank. Our line of credit, already slashed, was now frozen entirely. Citing escalating industry risks, I didn't need to guess the source. Carter Capital's fingerprints were all over it. I called our loan officer, Maria Chen, who sounded apologetic but firm. Emily, we can't discuss other clients, but the market's talking about Neuraltech's stability. I hung up, my pulse racing. James wasn't just targeting investors, he was choking our cash flow to force a sale. I paced the office, the Manhattan skyline a gray blur through the windows. My mother's voice echoed, "The greatest innovations face the fiercest resistance." Elizabeth Carter had believed in me when I was just a kid soldering circuits in our Palo Alto garage. Now her emerald earrings hung heavy in my ears, a reminder of the promise I'd made on her deathbed to build something that mattered, no matter the cost. But the cost was mounting. My doctor's warning rang in my ears. Heart palpitations, 10 pounds lost, 3 hours of sleep on a good night. I was running on caffeine and spite, and my team could see it. Sarah caught me in the break room, her eyes sharp with worry. "Em, you're killing yourself. You can't save Neuraltech if you collapse." "I'm fine," I snapped, then softened at her frown. "Okay, I'm not fine, but we're so close. If we nail the Apex demo, we can turn this around." Sarah nodded, but her expression said she wasn't convinced. She handed me a protein bar and a bottle of water. "Eat, drink, then we strategize. James is playing chess, and we need to be 3 moves ahead." The first move was confronting the defections. Lisa Chen, our lead AI architect, and 2 developers had jumped to Carter Capital for triple salaries and signing bonuses. Their loss was a gut punch. Lisa's expertise was critical to Aura's architecture. David called an emergency team meeting, and I faced the remaining 38 employees with as much conviction as I could muster. "We've been betrayed," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "Carter Capital poached our people, leaked our code, and spread lies about our finances. But Neuraltech isn't just code or contracts. It's us, every one of you. We're not just fighting for a company, we're fighting for our vision. Who's with me?" The room erupted in cheers, but I saw the strain in their faces. They were loyal, but loyalty was fragile when paychecks were at risk. The second move was riskier. Isabella's documents gave us leverage, but using them could backfire. A public leak about Carter Capital's $200 million 0 cents debt would shift the narrative, but it might drag Neuraltech into a messy legal battle. Sarah proposed a subtler approach, an anonymous tip to TechCrunch, framed as an industry insider exposing Carter Capital's overpromises to no direct link to us, she said, pacing my office. "It'll spook their clients and investors without dragging Neuraltech's name into it." I hesitated. The move was ruthless, the kind of play James would make, but my mother's words pushed me forward. "Create the trail others wish they'd found." I nodded. "Do it, but make sure it's untraceable." By noon, the TechCrunch article went live. Carter Capital faces scrutiny over $100 0 cents Zenith contract missteps. The piece didn't mention Neuraltech, but it detailed Carter Capital's financial woes and technical shortcomings, citing anonymous sources. Social media erupted, with industry insiders speculating about James's competence. I watched from my office, a mix of satisfaction and dread churning in my gut. James would know I was behind it and he'd hit back harder. Sure enough, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered, expecting a reporter, but a distorted voice hissed, "Back off, Emily, or your company's next breach will be fatal." The line went dead, and my heart stopped. A new threat. Anonymous, faceless, and chillingly real. I called David and Sarah into my office, locking the door. "Someone just threatened us," I said, replaying the call in my mind. David's face hardened. Could be James or someone he hired. The DDoS attack and the code leak weren't amateur moves. Sarah's eyes narrowed. "We need security now." "I know a guy, ex-NSA, runs a cybersecurity firm. He can trace the call and lock down our systems. I nodded, but the fear lingered. This wasn't just business anymore. It was personal, and the stakes were climbing. The third blow came that afternoon. A federal regulator contacted our legal team, citing credible reports that Aura was illegally harvesting user data. The accusation was baseless. Our privacy protocols were ironclad, but the rumor, spread by an unknown source, triggered a formal inquiry. The news hit Bloomberg, and our stock price, already battered by investor pullout, plummeted 15%. Clients started calling, demanding assurances. I spent hours on the phone with Horizon Enterprises, walking their CTO through our encryption standards. "We're clean, Thomas," I said, my voice calm despite the panic clawing at me. "This is a smear campaign." He seemed reassured, but his board was reviewing options. The $60 million 0 cents Horizon contract now expanded from $50 million 0 cents due to Aura's upgrades was our lifeline. Losing it would be catastrophic. By evening, I was unraveling. My vision blurred from exhaustion and my hands shook as I typed responses to client emails. Sarah found me slumped at my desk, the framed photo of Mom and me staring back. You need to sleep," she pleaded. "You're no good to us like this." I shook my head, tears welling. "What if I can't save it, Sarah? What if James wins? What if I fail Mom's dream?" She pulled me into a hug, her voice fierce. "Fail would be letting James turn you into someone you're not. You're Emily Carter, the woman who built Neural Tech from a napkin sketch. You don't quit." Her words steadied me, but the next morning brought a new crisis. Quantum Dynamics, the rival AI firm, upped their acquisition offer to 55% of Neural Tech's valuation, still far below our worth, but tempting given our dwindling cash. Their CEO, Catherine Wells, called personally. "Emily, I admire your grit, but the market's turning against you. Join us, and your tech will thrive." I saw through her crocodile tears. James had likely fed her intel to pressure me further. I declined, but the call left me rattled. Then David burst in, his face pale. "We lost 2 more developers to Carter Capital, and the Apex demo system crashed again during testing. We're running out of time." I felt the walls closing in. The demo was in 24 hours, and without Lisa Chen, our team was stretched thin. I called Laura Bennett, my mentor, who answered from her San Francisco penthouse. "Emily, this is a war of perception," she said. "James is winning because he's controlling the narrative. You need a bold move, something that screams Neural Tech's strength." She suggested a high-stakes play. Invite Apex's board to a live demo at our office, showcasing Aura's new capabilities in real time. "Risky," she admitted, "but it'll show you're fearless." I agreed, knowing a failure would be our death knell. At night, I drove to the Hamptons, my Audi roaring through the quiet roads. I needed to confront James face to face, not as his sister, but as his equal. He was at the family estate, hosting a dinner for Carter Capital's board. I walked in unannounced, my presence silencing the room. James's smile was cold as he rose from the table. "Emily, what a surprise. Come to accept our offer?" The board members shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting between us. "You're desperate, James," I said, my voice carrying across the dining room. "Carter Capital's drowning in $200 million 0 cents of debt, and you need my tech to save it. But you're not getting Neural Tech, not at 25%, not at all." His face twitched, a crack in his polished facade. Careful, Emily, he warned. You're playing a game you can't win. Our next offer comes with consequences. The threat hung heavy, but I held his gaze. Try me, I said, turning on my heel and walking out, my heart pounding with defiance. Back at Neuraltech, the team worked through the night, fueled by pizza and sheer will. David's crew fixed the demo system, and by dawn, Aura was performing flawlessly, processing complex queries with a speed that made my chest swell with pride. But the anonymous threat from the distorted voice lingered. Sarah's cybersecurity contrasted the call to a burner phone in Manhattan, but the trail went cold. Could be a hired gun, he said, or someone closer than you think. The words chilled me. Was Isabella's betrayal a setup? Was someone else in my circle feeding James intel? The Apex demo was a high-wire act. Their board arrived at noon, 5 suits in tailored jackets, their skepticism palpable. I stood at the front of our conference room, my mother's earrings glinting under the lights. Neuraltech's Aura isn't just AI, it's a revolution, I began, my voice steady despite the stakes. David ran the demo, and Aura dazzled. Anticipating user queries with uncanny precision, the board's CTO, Rachel Kim, leaned forward, her eyes wide. This is years ahead of anything we've seen. But midway through, the screens flickered. A new DDoS attack. My heart stopped. But David's team rerouted the system in seconds, keeping the demo alive. The board didn't notice, and by the end, they were applauding. We're ready to move forward, Rachel said. $75 million, 0 cents, terms to be finalized next week. I exhaled, relief flooding me, but it was short-lived. That afternoon, a courier delivered a letter from Richard, his elegant script on Carter Capital stationery. Emily, family need not be torn apart by business. Your mother would want unity. Accept James's offer, 30% valuation, now, and preserve your work under our guidance. The manipulation was infuriating, invoking Mom's memory to guilt me into surrender. I tore the letter in half, but his words gnawed at me. Was I fighting for Neuraltech, or was I fighting to prove them wrong? Then came the breakthrough. David burst into my office, his laptop glowing with new data. We traced the DDoS attack. It originated from a Carter Capital server. The evidence was damning. James had hired a cyber criminal to cripple our demo. I called Laura, who urged me to leak the proof to Tech Insider, not TechCrunch, to maximize impact. Frame it as a whistleblower exposing Carter Capital's dirty tactics, she said. It'll bury them. I hesitated, knowing this would sever any chance of family reconciliation, but Mom's voice pushed me forward. Your mind works differently. That's your gift. I approved the leak. The next morning, Tech Insider's headline screamed, Carter Capital accused of cyber sabotage in desperate bid to save failing empire. The article detailed the DDoS attack and Carter Capital's financial collapse, citing internal sources. Twitter exploded, with Carter Capital trending as industry leaders called for investigations. James issued a panicked statement denying involvement, but the damage was done. Zenith Innovations called Carter Capital, threatening to sue for breach of contract. Investors fled, and their stock tanked 20%. Amid the chaos, Alex Harper, the unconventional investor I'd met at a tech conference, arrived for a private demo. Aura's performance left him speechless. This is game-changing, Emily, he said, his casual jeans a stark contrast to the usual VC uniform. I'm offering $30 million, 0 cents, fair valuation, no strings. Let's talk terms. His sincerity was a lifeline, but I couldn't shake the question, could I trust him, or was he another player in James' game? That evening, James requested a meeting at a midtown steakhouse, his choice of a public venue, signaling a need for civility. I arrived, my Armani blazer a quiet nod to my newfound confidence. James looked haggard, his tie loosened, his charm frayed. You've made things messy, Emily, he said, cutting into his ribeye. But Carter Capital's offer stands. 35% valuation, final chance. Take it, or we poach your entire team and tank your Horizon deal. I leaned forward, my voice low. You're the one in trouble, James. Zenith's breathing down your neck, your investors are running, and I have proof you ordered the DDoS attack. Walk away, or I'll make sure Carter Capital's done for good. His fork froze mid-air, his eyes narrowing. You're bluffing, he said, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. I stood, leaving him with the bill and a sinking realization. I wasn't the little sister he could bully anymore. The Horizon contract signing was a quiet triumph. In our conference room, surrounded by my core team, Thomas Reed shook my hand over a $60 million 0 cents deal, expanded from the original $50 million 0 cents due to Aura's upgrades. You've proven the doubters wrong, he said, and I felt Mom's presence in the room. That night, we threw a gala for the team, transforming our office into a celebration of resilience. Sarah outdid herself with LED-lit cocktails named after Aura's algorithms, and David received a standing ovation for his technical heroics. Alex Harper attended, his interest shifting from professional to personal, his smile warm as he toasted our victory. As I stood on the rooftop, the Manhattan skyline glittering below, I found Mom's old journal in a box I'd brought from storage. Her words hit me like a lightning bolt. Success isn't applause. It's staying true to your vision, even when the world screams you're wrong. Tears streamed down my face, not from pain, but from pride. Neuraltech wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. Valued at $300 million, 0 cents. With Apex and Horizon in our corner, James was scrambling, Richard was humbled, and I was standing taller than ever. But questions lingered, hooking me like a fish on a line. Who was the anonymous hacker, and were they still watching? Was Isabella's betrayal genuine? Or was she playing a deeper game to protect James? What secret deal had Richard cut to land the Zenith contract? Could I trust Alex Harper's investment, or did it hide ulterior motives? And most chillingly, what would James do next? Now that I'd backed him into a corner, the fight for Neuraltech was far from over. But for the first time, I felt ready for whatever came next.